Hello, and welcome to Children and Electronics. I'm Liz Weaver of Learning Success, and I'll be your host for this exciting video series. This is an initiative to help you make smart choices around electronics for your children. Electronics are an integral part of our society, but they are also known to have many detrimental side effects and dangers. So, smart usage is important. In this video series, you will hear from educational professionals and parents alike, giving you a well-rounded perspective from a variety of viewpoints. In today's video, we have Martin Garcia. Martin Garcia, host of the Recover Yourself podcast and author of the upcoming book, Recover Yourself, Refocus Your Life Now That You're Sober. He is an artist and a former addict. Through his artwork, he now is helping others recover themselves completely, whether they have a history of addiction or not. Today, with almost 19 years of sobriety, he is committed to empowering individuals to take the reins of their lives and enjoy the ride. His video is about what parents might be inadvertently doing to steer their children towards addiction to electronics. Let's watch.
One of the greatest threats to learning and the human mind is comfort. We all know the fact that immersion is the quickest way to learn a language, but I want you to imagine how actually extremely uncomfortable that would be for possibly weeks. Day in, day out, overwhelmed with information, feeling like we aren't learning anything. And then that information starts to assimilate, and somehow, over time, without a teacher, we understand the language. You see, the brain wants to conserve energy, and when it must learn, especially a lot, it's uncomfortable. Today, I'm going to talk about children, screen time and tech, and what we as adults might inadvertently be doing to steer our children towards addiction. When we're done, you'll have a basic understanding of what is at the root of addiction, because what's at the root is the problem, while addiction is just a marker that the problem exists. I'm only going to be able to touch on some of the biggest problems that I see with children and the increase in screen time and tech. But even still, my goal is to help you be aware of what's happening and why digital learning seems like such a great solution to us as adults when we may actually be hindering the neural growth within the brains of our next generation. So to start, I want to return to the idea of discomfort. So much learning and growing happens in a state that feels uncomfortable. Think about a newborn. What do they have to learn? Everything. I would assume most of us cannot recall this stage in our lives, but can you imagine how difficult it must be to have to learn everything? How overwhelming that is. And although we have parents guiding us, it's not like they receive a syllabus before they're born. They say children learn faster than adults, and that's technically true in every way. However, there's no medical reason for that to be true, although it's probably impossible as an adult to learn the quantity of information that a children is learning. So children are more practiced at learning, which is probably a big reason for them to learn faster. Once they've achieved a certain level of knowledge, it starts to fall off their learning. By the time we're adults, we have our perceptions, our ideas, our facts and figures all memorized, and will never challenge our brains again the way that we once did. That all may seem off topic, but let me ask, with that understanding, would you ever take the course of being a baby again? The discomfort level is beyond understanding for us and as adults. Now I want to bring in the products, all the products. Most, if not all products, solve some problem that that's how we're taught to create products. The only problem that we're born with is to learn. Not just academics. We have to learn motor function and skills, inter and intrapersonal skills. We have to learn about space and time, and learning is uncomfortable. And when we teach children how to avoid this discomfort, we're inadvertently telling them that it might be unnecessary. Most of us as adults have been trying to be comfortable and like our surroundings for the last 2 decades. But we can't get rid of discomfort in our lives because the discomfort is teaching us. We don't want our children to avoid discomfort. We want them to face it. Now, I'm not advocating to be uncomfortable for the sake of itself, but that's an adult decision. As I mentioned earlier, learning burns calories, and the brain wants to conserve calories. If our children believe they can avoid feeling uncomfortable, their lives are going to be riddled with taking the road of least resistance. I recently spent time with a 5-year-old, and according to an iPad app, he knew his alphabet. I randomly quizzed him, and he couldn't identify many letters. He couldn't tell me their sound. He also couldn't tell me what words they started with. A week later, we replaced iPad with paper and a bunch of repetition, and he was learning his alphabet. Of course, he produced tears and tantrums, but he learned. Not only the letters and how to identify them, but how learning works. Again, learning is the only problem we have. The crying and the tantrums are him experiencing discomfort. He did everything he could do to not learn. He lied about not knowing how to hold a pencil. When anyone was in earshot, he attempted to manipulate them by crying as if he was being tortured. And to some extent he was, because learning creates extreme discomfort. He would do anything to avoid learning. The pride on the other side of learning is just as extreme, however. These avoidance tactics he used are the same ones that I've seen used by addicts throughout my life. These are natural. It's scary to both learn and self-examine, and if we don't begin to allow our children to feel uncomfortable and let them know that we're here to support them through that, they will be worse than we are. In closing, I want to let you know that by giving your children tech pacifiers, we're pacifying ourselves. We're avoiding being aware, and awareness avoidance is at the root of pacifying and addiction. If we're avoiding looking at ourselves by avoiding being aware of our children, we are building a cycle that product manufacturers are going to hijack. We will create an environment where we're going to need external things more than ever to simply get through a day. We're all born with everything that we need. Everything is just making things more comfortable. And some of those things may be robbing us of our strengths. I hope that sheds some light for you on the bigger picture and broadens your idea of what consists of addiction and how we can start to identify our pacifiers.
Thanks, Martin. That was a really informative video. This video has been part of the Children and Electronics Initiative, an initiative to help you make smart choices around electronics for your children. We've created this because this is an important subject that can help you up your parenting game. Please make sure to share this video, and when you do, use the hashtag CAE so we can find you on social media. If you'd like to be part of this initiative and share your story or expertise on the subject, you can get in touch with us by using the contact form at www.learningsuccesssystem.com and put CAE in the subject line. Thanks for watching and for sharing this video. In case no one else has told you yet today, you are an amazing parent. I appreciate you for showing up and doing what it takes to embrace your child's brilliance and unleash their potential. I'm Liz Weaver of Learning Success, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.